going on, guys? Happy Thursday. Want to give you guys a quick recap as far as what I'm looking at. I believe this wave is in for ETH wave 4. I believe we're now going to be going into wave 5. We could be looking at truncation, or we could be looking at an advanced wave, but nevertheless, in the event that I'm wrong and ETH decides to go higher and test higher levels, I'm going to show you those levels. So let's dive into this together.
So let's start off with a 3-day, just so we have an understanding as far as what I'm looking at for fib levels, right? We were talking about this 0.76 level being met right at 34.62, went a little bit higher, went all the way up to roughly around 34.80. That's not a big deal, but we're seeing that we're closing underneath that. There are going to be some levels right below that. If we hit truncation, meaning that wave 5 is going to be shorter than wave 3, then we're going to be testing inside of this order block right over here. There's a small fair value gap that sits right inside this zone. So without a doubt, I believe if this wave is in, we're going to be at least testing at the bare minimum, testing these levels. Now, wave 5 can get deep, but it can also be a double bottom where it comes into these levels, 1400s and maybe even 1500. So basically just coming to this level where we tested back in, I believe it was April 10th, coming back and hitting a double bottom, and then we're going to start reversing, going to the upside. If that's the case, then ETH is completely bullish, and it's just going to, go to an all-time high sometime this year, God willing, because this thing has been underperforming. But in the event that we do have a strong wave, an advanced wave, then we're going to be testing some of these lower levels. We're going to be sub 1K, and I know a lot of you guys are like, that's not possible. That's just not what's going to happen. But let's look at the reality. What if ETH decides to do that and BTC starts to dump at the same time? And let's take a look at USDT. What USDT is doing, right? USDT has a little bit more of a stretch to go to. There are some lower levels. It could even potentially come down to this 3.9 level. If that's the case, then ETH is going to go up. And let's go back to ETH. Let's actually go to a 4-hour so we can take a gander as far as what levels I'm looking at when it comes to a 4-hour. Right, so if USDT decides to go, sorry about that, guys. If USDT decides to go lower and ETH is going to go higher, then we're definitely going to be not only testing these levels of 3600s, we're possibly going to be testing that 4K band, this order block that sits inside this zone. One of the biggest things that I'm looking at right now in the event that this wave is complete is I want to see not only just this area being filled, because if we're extremely bullish, we're going to test this 3311 down to, we actually can get this fair value gap down to like 3178. We're going to test this whole area, and if we are bullish, and in fact bullish going to go higher into these levels because USDT is starting to sink, then these areas are going to act as a point of support. But in the event that it doesn't, then this is when we start testing these order blocks right over here, these order blocks inside of these regions. We do have a 200 that sits inside the zone, so this is going to be a pretty significant area to find support. If we lose support in this area, then those lower levels that I was talking about earlier, getting down to 1300s, we have small little fair value gaps, but we do have an order block that sits right inside of this area as well too. So the way that I'm positioned right now is I am taking profits on these wicks. I am seeing some type of exhaustion. That's what this candle is representing, where it's kind of pink and mauve. That's essentially what I'm looking at, seeing that there's exhaustion inside the market right now. We had one exit pump on this candle because we should have stopped right at this 9 right here, this sequential 9 right in this area, right around 34.29. But obviously the fibs was going to be the magic number, and we can see that we're rejecting off of those levels. This pink candle that you see right now, that's showing a sign of exhaustion. So there has to be some type of breather. This is why I'm saying this area right over here between 33.10 down to 31.77. We got to find support in there if we're going to remain extremely bullish, and then head all the way up, and then take out all these order blocks, take out all these orders over here, and then come and test these 4K handles. Now, obviously, I'm playing both sides as far as looking at support, continuation for bullish and bearish. Overall, my position, just because BTC has been hitting all-time highs, and again, I'll keep reiterating this, Ethereum has been underperforming vastly. So if BTC decides to start crushing and coming down lower, coming down to those 90K handles, 91,000 handles, then what do we think is going to happen to Ethereum? Coupled with that, if USDT starts to bottom out here in these areas, because even on a 4-hour, it's showing signs of exhaustion. If it decides to start creeping back up, then it's game over for ETH. We're actually going to be heading down to those lower levels. I'd love to know you guys' thoughts. Let me know where you are with trades. If you have any setup questions or strategy questions, feel free to DM me. Outside of that, be profitable, be safe. I'll catch you soon. Peace.